guys can hear me. Yes, people. What's going on? It's Eagle Talks Football. We're back again with another video. Hopefully you can hear me now.
You went quiet for a second there.
Yeah, big up everyone. Make sure you do hit that goddamn like button and let me know. Stop what you're doing. Let me know the score prediction. The biggest game of the season so far for Arsenal and Manchester City. Maybe not Manchester City, but for Arsenal at least. Make sure you let us know your score prediction right now. If you're watching live or you're watching on the playback, let me know your score prediction and stay for the end. Find out what our score prediction is going to be. I'm getting my arms rolled up. I'm getting ready for this one. It's going to be a good one. Dabs is in the house. He's back. We haven't been able to do our show this week, but today we're going to be doing a preview to the Man City game. So this is it. Hamza let us down. Unfortunately, the guy's just flying back from Turkey, so he couldn't make it.
Oh, he's out of the country too much, you know.
Unfortunate. He's a businessman with business plans. and then you got my guy Gunnar Sulz in the house repping Arsenal jumping through. Big up everyone in the chat. First things first, I want to say condolences to everyone that's experiencing the situation in Turkey. Big up to everyone who's donating and making a change over there. I really do appreciate it. And I just want to leave this message. If you are going to be donating clothing or you're going to be donating anything, make sure you're not donating garbage, because we don't need people that wasting their time to sort out garbage. Make sure if you're going to donate something that's valuable or helpful to people, like diapers or utilities. Or if you're going to send clothing, make sure it's clothing that they could actually use and not wedding dresses and things that you don't need anymore. Now, I'm going to actually get into the show now. Guys, one more message. Ivan Toney got racially abused on the weekend after the Arsenal game. That is a disgrace. As an Arsenal fans, we value our club as a respectful club and a club with class. And we cannot be doing these kind of things. We cannot be seeing these kind of things from any walks of life, from anybody. So we need to realize, as a fan base, we need to condemn whoever did this, and we need to make sure we all send our messages to Ivan Toney, showing the sincerest apologies from
and also. And to whoever did it, I have a sneaky suspicion that they might be immature. Either way, mentally they're immature, right? And if you think you're supporting your club by doing that, you're not. You're not a fan of your club, right?
It's pathetic.
It's pathetic, and grow the fuck up.
There you go. And the final message before we have an open discussion: let's try to do a show without VAR discussion for one day, because I'm just gonna get it out of the way. We don't have to worry. This game, we're gonna have a whole new crew. None of the people who made mistakes over the weekend. They had one of the guys.
Didn't change, didn't it?
Yeah, they had one of the guys in there. They got rid of him. No Steven Gerrard talk from Pep.
He came out and apologized today, didn't he?
I seen him apologize. And then
Bro, do you know what? I don't know if you saw, but after the game against Villa, right? Yeah. I don't know if you saw the Pep interview, but to me, he looked like a man that was emotionally drained, right? And like he's gone up a level with us, right? I think it's quite interesting because Pep has always been a tactical genius, right? That's what he does, Pep tactically. I think this season it got to a point where he realised. At first, I was thinking this is all about tactics. And I do think this season he's been trying to work out the way to overload the midfield with the fact he's got Haaland not a false nine now and all of that and injuries and all of that. But I think it got to a point where he realised this isn't about tactics no more. I need to show a new side of my management. I need to find a way to get these players to go again, to get these fans, because it was a bit of a stalemate between the fans and the players, where the fans are like, if you show us some effort, we'll back you. The players are like, we need you to get behind us. And second half against Tottenham, the minute they chase one ball, we'll go louder. But if you see a group of players like we've had not putting the effort in, it's frustrating. But Pep took what has happened at our club and he found a way to become the leader, because we didn't need the board to say anything, right? Because the board are going to say what the board's going to say. Whatever the board says, I'm going to take it. It is what it is. You're going to say that, right? Previously, when we faced UEFA, Pep didn't really speak on it, right? So he doesn't have to. He dodges interviews. The fact he chose to come out and address it the way he did, that's what we as a fan base needed, because we were putting effort in. He put effort in. And then on Sunday, it's like, now, players, you have to do your part now, because we've all done our part. But this season, we haven't really seen the players do their part. So, but he looked drained. On Sunday, he looked like a man that had gone to war and was tired. So I think maybe what he did today was reflect and just think, do you know what? That was a bit shit of me, because that's against what Pep does, but it's what it is. It was funny for me.
You guys must have laughed. But when it comes to the actual situation, let's get straight into it. You've already touched on Pep Guardiola. You've touched on FFP slightly. You've touched on the interview that he had when he called out the 9 teams. When I watched that interview, I got this feeling that he was somewhat rattled. You got the feeling that he was somewhat defending you guys and he was fully in control?
I got the feeling of someone that, look, everyone's going to have their different spin on it. I kind of am just like, let's wait. Let's let the courts decide and do all of that. Look, for me, if we have broke rules, we have to face it. Yeah, rules are there to be followed. I can talk on the rules. I can talk on the fact that I think the rules have conveniently been brought in when someone outside of the traditional American Western owners have been brought in, right? I can talk about all of that. But I turn into a conspiracy theorist, and I don't like gin drinking vegans, so I don't want to do that, right? But I think with Pep, that's the way he feels. That is the way he feels. He feels like it is one rule for one group, one rule for another. I've always felt that. When I was young and Man United was so dominant, there was never conversations about any of this shit. It was just Man United were dominant. But now another team's becoming dominant, these things get brought in. But we can't change it, bro. Football is a corrupt world, right? Here's the thing. What pisses me off is when other fan bases try and do the moral high ground, right? And it's morally not correct. But then if I was to say, so what Chelsea are doing right now, is that morally correct? Well, there's a loophole. That's not why I asked, right? Because City guaranteed will have good lawyers, yeah? So if good lawyers find loopholes, does that mean morally it's correct now? For me, it doesn't, right? In football, there's no morals. Like, there aren't. Other teams have been found guilty of cheating, yeah? Right? I'm not going to call them out because I'm not going to do that, but they have. Just go and Google it, go and look into it, yeah? They're not being labelled with the term cheat. Now, I can't talk about the club. I can only talk about me as a fan. I know until this cloud gets dealt with, everywhere we go as a fan base, home and away, we're going to get labelled cheats. Anything we achieve, we're going to get labelled as cheats, right? That's shit. As a football fan, that's shit. So I just want this dealt with as quickly as possible. And City's fan base will tell you, if it being dealt with means we get a point deduction, means we get relegated, as a fan base, we go again. It's as simple as that, yeah? And we support the club. If the board has done something that deserves punishment, and I don't mean that they find us guilty for having long grass, I mean that one of the serious charges gets found, then it's so hard for me to say this because I love the board, love the joy they've brought me, brought my family, brought my friends, brought my fan base. And I think they've done it for the right reason, helped Manchester as a city, all of that stuff, yeah? And I think they've done it for the right reason. Unfortunately, there were rules in place. If they've broke serious rules and dragged the club through mud, we probably have to part ways. And it's sad, but the club is bigger than players, manager, and owner, right? And if you've dragged the club, the fan base, all of that through the mud, it's hard, but we have to go, do you know what, we go again and whatever. But look, for me,
you want to know
it's
something?
going to take about 4 years, bro. So
if the ownership has to leave, they're going to it's going to be catastrophic, the actual punishment if they have to leave. Let's be honest.
I don't think they will. But here's the thing, bro. It's like, I don't think, right, the Premier League won't make them leave, I don't believe, right? That actually might be a fair punishment, but I don't think they will, right? But that then puts, unfortunately, us fans again in a bad position because my memories with my dad watching us win the Premier League, yeah? Like last season when I was in a shit place mentally and I clung on to the team, right? And that got me through the hardest times of my life, right? Traveling back from Manchester the day after we won the league, realizing for 6 months of my whole life melting down, I'd clung on to football and it got me through it, right? All of that, right? As fans, do I turn on the owners that have given me all of that? It's hard, bro. But at the same time, I love my club more than I love the owners. So it's a hard place to be as a City fan, because we have to right now. And I think Pep was spot on. Just give us a chance. Let us go to court. Let that happen, and then call us cheats. Don't call. I had someone last week say I have to be self-aware and I have to apologize. Me.
For what?
Me. Right?
For what?
And it's like, come on, bro. Like,
listen, I'll tell you this. The moment I seen the actual things, I got to shout out one person in the comment section. Thunder Rhodes. He's like...
He's a real one. Always has been.
Thunder Rhodes. Because he's like, bro, first thing I'm thinking about right now is Daps. I'm like, bro, you're right. People are here laughing, joking around, but it's like the fans are the real ones hurting. And it's like people
real talk, bro. Last Monday was hard. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I wasn't in the best place anyway.
What, I want to kind of take it back.
Hard, man.
With all of this, right? And I think the thing with Pep, I'm going to bring it into the Pep conversation a little bit, because a lot of people who know, I've started watching La Liga before I watched Premier League. Fun fact, if people didn't know that. And my journey of football started with Barcelona and somewhat United. So I know the Pep journey, because it was when Frank Rijkaard and Pep era kind of ended and Pep took over. And it happened from then. Like, UEFA have always targeted sort of Barcelona and Pep's journey of how much dominance he brought in. And especially with like Joan Laporte, they kind of looked at the Henry, Eto'o, Sulz as like fraudulent behavior to try and like, embezzle money into the club. And it's been starting from then. Like, Pep has had to defend Barcelona from that day of like UEFA loan, all of this sort of stuff. Like, there's always been like, the corruption story following Pep throughout his journey. Even when you look at Bayern Munich, there was like queries of him doing things, and then he has to come to Man City and he's doing the same shit again. And of course, when you kind of look at it, like, there's a lot of your board, as famously known, is majority of it has come from a background of Barcelona to some degree. Not all of it, but a lot of the main figureheads have come from there. So when you look at it from that perspective, all these guys have gone through this shit together, and it seems to just keep following them. And obviously they're going to look at it and go, well, why the fuck are we the ones getting targeted consistently? And it's like, and like you said, you know what it is, right? And obviously for people who kind of make business decisions within their workspaces, and whether you make, stakeholder meetings and stuff, a lot of legal terms such as like shotgunning and like machine gunning techniques that lawyers use. And at the moment, the problem that you guys have is you've got this machine gun approach from whoever, I can't remember who it is, the lawyer who's kind of put these 100 and whatever charges. That's machine gunning as much as they can get to hope something sticks, 100%. Something lands, something, pierces the armor. And that to me is why I find it so hard to believe. Because I'm like, you're just hoping they slip up on one of the charges, they overlook something. And
that's it.
Because like preparing for 100 charges, you know how fucking hard that is? Like, you're gonna overlook one, and you might not be prepared for one of the charges. I'm not saying that's what they're gonna do, but everyone's a human in this situation, and 100 charges to go there and try and defend every single one, there could be that one to get you out with. And it's like, it's not even fair.
You know what, Steps? Just 1 second. I don't want to spend too much time on the actual project itself. Could you maybe work it into, does this now galvanize the group, or does it?
Yeah. So the last thing I'll say is what you said there, spot on. I think about 30 of the charges. Look, I have not deep. Some City channels, hold tight. Name will come to me later. There's been a few City content creators that really deeped it. For me personally, my brain's not in the right place to be getting too involved in that. And do you know what? I just didn't want to be frank. But I'm hearing like 30 of the charges are just to do with us not cooperating, right? But we did that with UEFA because we felt, why should we? You've come and asked us for information that why are you asking us for it? And this is the key. If a policeman kicks in my door without a warrant, I don't have to allow him in, right? Now, if he kicks in the door and finds nothing he's looking for, but finds a spliff in an ashtray, he don't have to pay for my door to be fixed, right? So, if our grass was too long, the titles will be City found guilty, right? Because we've been found guilty of one charge. And that's what's weird to me, that there's some charges that I think, are you piling some on just because you're worried that some aren't going to stick? So you're piling the most pathetic charges on so that ultimately, in the end, you can say, we were still guilty. Maybe not of the biggest charges, but we were still guilty. But look, what you said, Agal, that's what Pep did. He took that energy and he realised, this is it. I'm going to run with this. Like, siege mentality, 100%, bro. You saw it on Sunday. I'll be honest. I've been travelling all season up to the Etihad for games. We haven't been good at the Etihad this season. The atmosphere has been, for me, poor. Tottenham game, second half, that was good because the team looked full of energy, so we backed it. Atmosphere's been pretty poor at the Etihad. Away from home, we're always good, always. But at the Etihad, it's been poor. Last week against Villa, last weekend, it wasn't because it brought the whole fan base together. Youngers and elders. City's youngers are sensational, by the way. City's elders are loyal as shit, but they're not that loud anymore. But our youngers are loud as shit. But there's a weird divide between the two that it's brought everyone together. And at last, it's almost like it's written in the stars because I've been screaming for ages, we're lacking leaders on the pitch as well. Gundogan, De Bruyne, great ballers, they're not leaders. Diaz came back in. And for me, he was the difference. And I always say that with football, if the person behind you, you don't have confidence in, it changes the way you play. And at the weekend, against Villa, with Laporte and Diaz at the back, everything just looked different. Everyone could just do their jobs again because they've got faith in the centre-backs. Like, it wasn't a coincidence when Diaz went off and Akanji came on, when was it Watkins that went through? Who scored for Villa? Was it Watkins?
Yeah, Watkins.
Right. When Watkins went through, I thought Diaz is going to have him here. And then I realised Diaz has gone off. It's Akanji. And Akanji took a couple of seconds to get over there because he's ball watching. That's the difference. Like, even the first goal, the corner, when Sky said, Rodri, Laporte, Diaz, all up for this corner, it took me back to Company, Yaya, Lescott, right? And we score from the corner. It's weird because we've all seen it. And it's like, this has brought not just the fans together, but it almost seems like it's brought the players back together. The players have come together again. Like, and I don't know, it's perfect timing because we need that. Look, I've seen one or two content creators, let's move on to the game, trying to switch this narrative that City think we're coming to the Emirates and it's going to be a rollover. I don't know where you've got that from, right? I get the record between City and Arsenal, not just at the Emirates, but in the league, right? Yeah. But let's be very fucking clear. This is not the same Arsenal, yeah? Arsenal, you've not won your last 3 games, but this is the game that if you're going to get up for it, it's this game, right?
You know what? Let me just stop you there because Pep Guardiola himself said in an interview, if I'm not mistaken, he held this Arsenal side the best he has faced. And I'm not sure if the
best Arsenal or the best team he's faced.
The best Arsenal he's faced. He's even including Arsene Wenger Arsenals that he faced in the Champions League. Like, I don't think for a second there's a debate in that. Gunnar Sulz, you probably also agree, but I'm just gonna say that.
What, do you agree with that?
I agree. It is the best Arsenal team we've had since forever, like in a long time.
What Arsenal did he face in the Champions League?
The one that Messi scored 4 goals against in one game.
So what era was that? Just
when was that? 28?
That was not the year they won it. It was the year before. It was 07, 08.
07, 08? Yeah. Basically the year that I stopped liking Messi.
So that would have been after the Invincibles, right?
Oh, yeah. It was like 5 years.
Yeah, it was all after. Yeah,
it was 4 or 5 years.
So it would be. For me, the energy of this Arsenal team at the moment, that's the key. When Arsenal are on job, this Arsenal, the energy is it's like City in their 100-point season for me. Like midfield domination with runners, yeah? And that is worrying. When you've got midfield domination,
the worst City side. Based on the same thing that we just said about the best Arsenal side, someone told me this is the worst City side in nearly Pep's whole era.
I wouldn't say the first season, because his first season was way worse.
First season defensive. But I hear it. Look, it's not the worst.
Can I say, though, I don't think it's the worst. I think it's different, and that's what people don't like. And the reality is, look, I know I've said some crazy things at Haaland, and I kind of stand by it, but there's reasons to why I say it, where I say Haaland, for me, doesn't scare me as much, because Man City don't know how to play with Haaland. Like, every time you kind of look at him and you actually hyper-analyze the performances with Haaland in the team, you can see there's moments where he's making a run or he's on the edge of the shoulder of a defender and they're too slow to get the ball across to him. And that's obviously an adaptation and sort of a transition for me that they need to kind of find. Now, will that happen? We'll see. I mean, obviously, Pep's notoriously played with false nines and not with the Haaland type. And every time he has, they've never really looked as potent. I mean, look, they're scoring goal. That's not where I question the system. But, for example, when he played in the FA Cup, I saw, like, I don't know what you saw, but I definitely saw Haaland was very frustrated because the ball wasn't getting to him. And there were so many opportunities that you could have been in behind.
Bro, this is the headline I keep seeing, Dabs. Erling Haaland's the issue that Man City must solve.
Right. So it's very easy to say Erling Haaland, yeah? But, right. So first season, Pep had issues.
Don't do the 25 goals he scored.
No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to, bro. That's kind of, look, is how it is. Pep first season had issues to resolve, right? And that meant going out to the transfer window and resolving them. Now, right now, I don't necessarily think it's that. It will be that in the summer because of the fact that Bernardo Silva wants to go, right? He has to go now, right? He has to, yeah. There's issues all over the place. Haaland is, for me, for Pep, because, right, Pep loves and wins stuff by overloading the midfield, right? The minute you replace a false nine with an out-and-out striker, yeah, you lose a body in midfield. So Pep is trying to find a way to get that body in midfield. That's why with Cancelo gone, Bernardo Silva is a great example. A midfielder that can come in and give you that extra body in midfield. But I do think it's deeper than that, because at the weekend, Laporte and Diaz came in, right? No one can tell me that we were not moving the ball quicker at the weekend, right? Here's the thing. Akanji and Ake, yeah, they don't move the ball quick. Laporte is everyone says John Stones is a ball-playing defender. He is, right? Laporte is a fast-moving, with range defender, yeah? He can play balls over the top. He can play fizzing balls that almost bypass the midfield straight to people in the front three. Laporte, for me, is key, but then also Diaz is, because if you want your fullbacks to invert and become part of midfield, you have to have reliable centre-backs. You can't have a Kanji, right? Because then there's no confidence in anything. All of a sudden, if you've got Diaz that's willing to chill at the back, right, and just be a defender, and then you've got Walker's pace that's willing to come back and help him out, all of a sudden, everyone going forward can be a lot more confident. And I think the key is, it's not on Haaland, it's on that we've taken too fucking long to get the ball into him. We always wait until there's 10 men in the box, then try and lump the ball in. And it's like, he can't out-jump 10 people.
Let me stop you for a second and just say this. When it comes to Manchester City and this upcoming game, do you think you're going to have to go with the old-fashioned Laporte and Diaz?
Yes.
And do you think Pep is going to go with that?
So, right, I said this earlier on. At the weekend against Villa,
are they not fully fit, or
who?
Are they
fully fit?
Oh, yeah. Well, this is a front. Look, what frustrated me the most is against you lot in the FA Cup, Laporte came on second half, about 40th minute when Stones got injured and looked good. And our whole line changed because he could lead the line, right? And then against Tottenham, we went and dropped him. And I'll be honest, that Tottenham game was the most frustrating game because Tottenham aren't good. Tottenham have been bad this season. Tottenham against us weren't great. There's his narrative they were good. No, they weren't. We were just dog shit, right? And we played with fucking Laporte was fit, Diaz was fit, neither of them touched pitch. So both of them will start. But the key is, against Villa, we could play Bernardo Silva as kind of a wing-back-ish with 3 at the back with Laporte, Diaz, and Walker. We can't do that against Arsenal. I'm sorry, but Bernardo Silva against Saka, no, it's not that, right? Ake had a good game against Saka. This is why this game is so interesting, because I think in the first game, Arsenal, to a certain extent, tried to stop City from playing. Arsenal shouldn't do that. At home, Arsenal need to play Arsenal football because your football's fucking good, yeah? And the way, if you look at City and Liverpool over the last 4 years, generally Anfield, Liverpool win playing their football. At the Etihad, we win playing our football. Same thing. At your gaff, with the way your fans will be up for it, of course, you've got to pay attention to certain players, but Arsenal should not make it all about stopping City from doing what they're doing. Arsenal need to be that team that can dominate in midfield, can have their fullbacks getting involved, and come at us. Like, someone early on said, hit us on the counter. No, don't do. That's not Arsenal. Arsenal need to be Arsenal. They're a good team.
Okay. Do you know what's actually interesting? Like, when you look at the battles that Liverpool and City have had, like at the Anfield especially, the way that City have always been beaten, or even if you exclude Liverpool from this, even if you look at like certain teams like Brentford and stuff, they've won by showing no fear. Now, I kind of premise that, I'm not saying be naive, but show no fear. Don't be scared of the Man City team, and you can get success. It's the minute you start to cower away a little bit and show
100%.
too much respect is when they're like, okay, we're getting you now. And it's a mental battle with City. You've got to borderline have the respect that, yeah, they are Man City, but be like, but we're Arsenal. Do you know, if that kind of makes sense?
100%, bro. Look, there's 2 ways you can beat City. You can sit back and hit us on the counter, but that is risky as fuck, yeah? And you have to be very, very confident in being able to do that, right? That's not us. Like Brentford, for example. Brentford got a result against us, but Brentford been doing that against teams, yeah? That's what they do, yeah? Arsenal, that isn't how Arsenal play. Arsenal play by being the team that now dominates midfield, yeah? That's so you would be far more likely to get a result by doing what you do and showing us that you're confident, because you just said it, bro. It's all about up here. If you lot show us that you're confident, yeah, City are a team that if you can push us back and get us on the ropes, we get nervous. Now, it will be harder now we've got Diaz and Laporte.
Do you feel like we'll see a similar game to what we've seen last season at the Emirates?
You were great that game. I would hope, bro, that you see a better City than that day.
Okay.
That was a game that in the second half we really had to dig fucking deep to get a result. Like, that probably was one of the games that inspired us to go on. Like, that game was a very, very tough game. I would hope after the Villa game that what I want to see is, I'll be honest, bro, I want to see a City team that come out confident. It's hard because as a fan, I'm not getting carried away after one result. Like, I can't, because we've seen it. You lot opened the door to us, not last weekend, the weekend before, and we didn't take the opportunity, right? We've been very lucky that you've opened the door to us again, right? I do believe that if we don't take this opportunity this time, it's going to get to a point where Arsenal are just like, we found form again, no more door opening. In a title race, when doors get opened, you have to take them. You have to. So we have to come here being like, yeah, we are City. It's so hard because I'm saying things that to me at the moment, it's hard for me to say it, but we need to remember who we are over the last few seasons and go with that mentality.
That's what gives me confidence.
1 second. Let me just jump into what my thoughts are on the game. Dabs, I'm not even trying to come from an arrogant level, but the fact that we just played Everton and Brentford back-to-back and they play with low blocks and we're coming to play you guys is kind of a relief almost.
Yeah.
We're going to play somebody that's going to be playing a little bit more open and letting us play the way that we want to play. You guys are going to be pressing us, which is going to allow us to build up the way that we like to build up. We're more or less likely built to play against the way you play, rather than teams that play low blocks. We're not really built.
Same as us, bro.
So when it comes to this game, it's going to be an open game. But in the same breath, It's at the Emirates. The fact is, yes, City's record against Arsenal historically have been bad, but this season we've been a team that's been breaking the mold. We've been breaking the mold with Liverpool. We broke the mold with Tottenham, and I'm hoping we can break the mold again with City. The main difference makers for me in this game is I want to see Mikel Arteta be bold. I want to see him be brave, and I want to see him make a change in the lineup. He hasn't really made many changes. If I see a change in the lineup,
I think this is the wrong game for that.
Hold on. Are you guys both talking about the same change? Probably.
I'm talking about Trossard.
Oh, 100%.
I think Trossard's a big game player. He scored against you earlier this season, even though
he looked good in the first half against us as well at Argath.
Yep. And I just feel like.
But then who? All right, but for who though?
For Martinelli.
Crazy, Eddie Nketiah.
That's the wrong.
Hold on.
Yeah, Nketiah is the right decision. Yeah.
Hold on.
I'll explain it after you know. I'll talk.
Nketiah comes out. Martinelli goes up top. Trossard goes on the left. What happens is now you have a fluid front three that can rotate and cause you headaches with the fact that all three of them can be on the wing at one point, all three of them can be in the middle at one point, and all three of them can be on the right at one point.
That's Pep vibes right there.
So with the fluidity of the three, it would allow us to have more fluidity in the front three. They all can drive at defenders. Two of them can hold up the ball and not obviously hold it up against a defender, but just hold it up and see the pass.
Has he played that before this season?
And what he's done is, the last game that we played against Brentford, he had Martinelli as the center forward, and he had Eddie Nketiah at points in the game playing on the left.
Ooh.
So when Trossard came in, Trossard was playing on the left, Eddie Nketiah was playing up top. We haven't really seen all three of them in the same team together. Call me crazy, but I think it's time to experiment. And the reason why I call for this is because even if the attack, Eddie Nketiah is in it. When Eddie Nketiah gets into that final third, he doesn't have the composure. He doesn't have both feet that he can utilize in that situation.
Nah, Nketiah on the wings, not it. Never.
And also in the final third, when you have the ball in tight spaces, I'd rather have Trossard in tight spaces than I'd have Eddie Nketiah. I'm not making fun of Eddie Nketiah. I'm not calling him shit. I'm not throwing him out the window like some people are. I'm literally just stating the facts that I feel like we need somebody who's the game changer. And I feel like he is a game changer, and having him on the pitch sooner than later would be beneficial. If you want to keep him as a super sub, you can keep him as a super sub. But at least if the game is going against us, we're going to need him to show up. And and the rest of the team stays the same. I think if it's as simple as this. If we are ahead by a goal, it's a long night for City.
Yeah, agreed. We can't concede the first goal to you lot. No way.
Yeah, because we've been able to run away with leads once we get them. And if it's a back and forth affair similar to the Manchester United game, I still believe at home we have the wherewithal to get through it. But if we lose this game, we've not been in a title race before with this squad and this manager. I don't know how we'd be able to manage losing this game. This is a must-win game for us. I don't know how much of a must-win game you guys feel like it is for you guys, but on our end, I feel like there's already fans who don't believe we're going to win this league.
It's mad. I'm not going to lie. The way some of your fan base have started getting, I kind of get it. Look, I do kind of get it because
they never believed it, Daps. They never believed it. They never believed in the heart of hearts that we're going to win. They were just saying it. And me and Gunnar Sulz were talking about it, I think, the other day. Some of these guys never believed it. Now that we're in a situation, they're bottling it. They're throwing their toys at the Prem. They're scared. They lost to Everton. They draw against Brentford, and the world is falling apart. But now there's no hiccup. There's no title race without a hiccup. But apparently,
no, there's not. But
to win a league title, apparently you have to win every game now.
Here's the thing. I kind of said to you earlier on, and playing devil's advocate a little bit, right? Is like when you say if we lose this, then we're not going to win the league. The first Premier League we won, right? We lost on a Sunday to Arsenal, right? And Man United went 8 points clear with 7 games to go, right?
Fair. Right.
And we were like, yeah, that's it now. That's it. This is Man United now to win league. We ain't got a fucking chance in hell. But Khaldoon went into the dressing room and basically had a chat with them and said, pressure's off now. Just go and play football. Just go and play football, and let's see how it ends, right? We won every game and won the league. So I hear what you're saying, but this is a thing. This is an important game. It is massive. I think
6 points. 6-point lead if with a game in hand, if you win.
I always said to you, Gal, that if by the time we played you, yeah, when we had a conversation just after Christmas, I said to you, if when we play you, you are more than 6 points ahead of us, yeah, it's long for us. But if we're within 6 points of you by the time we play you, it's open field, yeah, but this game's massive. Not just, again, it's like the FA Cup thing. I said at that point, I felt that Arteta should have put his best team out because it was about this, right? Showing that team that one last hurdle of beating City at our gaff. Imagine coming into this game knowing you've already beat us in the Etihad. Agreed in the FA Cup, but I think you would have gone and beat Everton and Brentford after that, right? Because the belief in yourself would have been different. But if you win this game, it's like the second time you've opened the door to City and then shut it in our face. And that there's only a certain amount of times that a team can come back because we keep winning games and thinking, here we go, we're going to go on our run. Oh, no. So again, if you win this, it's like, again, you're stopping the City momentum. If you let us win this, our momentum, I think it will come. That will be it. Like for me, we'll go Leipzig, beat them, we'll come back. We've got, I think, Forest at the weekend, we'll win that. And then the momentum will just be too much because you're allowing City's best players to build up momentum. You can't do that. But it's a massive, massive game. Massive game. Massive.
How do you go into your thought process behind these situations? Because you've been in these situations with Liverpool over the last couple of years. You've been in it with Manchester United. Just to gain from your experience, if Arsenal lose, do you basically count us out from that point onwards?
No.
As a rival, or do you think because I know for a fact if Arsenal lose, the whole Premier League is saying it's done. City's winning it. You're finished. I knew you guys were frauds the whole time. That's what's coming to happen. If we win, people are still going to question us. Where if you win or if you lose, no matter what, there's still going to be a large portion of the Premier League who say City have the experience to get through it. So I want to know from your perspective, scenario one, you win, what happens? Scenario two, you lose, what happens? Scenario three, we draw. I generally believe you guys are still in the advantage. Any point?
You know what it is? I'm not, because look, we're a fragile fan base because through our younger years, yeah, we do it the hard way. Even getting fucking promoted to the Championship, we had to come from behind. So we should know that I should believe, because we've done it so many times, like 93-20, Gillingham, even the season against Brighton, where we went 1-0 down against Brighton and had to come back. And we've done it so many times. But last season, bro, last day of the season, when we went 1-0 down, I'm looking at my phone. The guy next to me in the stadium's going, don't worry, we don't need the Liverpool result. I'm going, we do. 2-0 down, I'm going, we definitely do. He's going, we don't worry. Right? I'm still panicking. We score 3 goals. But I guess PTSD in football is a real thing, right? And if we can do it, why can't Arsenal do it? I said back in November, just before the World Cup on AFTV, we were talking about world-class players in Arsenal's squad. And I said, people were saying, they haven't got many world-class players. I said, right now, but if they win the league, all of a sudden it's going to be a different conversation, right? And this is a thing that if we were that team up against Sir Alex Ferguson's Man United, 8 points behind with 7 games to go, Ferdinand's still there, Vidic's still there, Scholes still there, and we came from behind and did it, right? If that tells me that until it's mathematically not possible, you can't rule out anybody. Leicester, none of us thought that was going to happen until it got to a point where, oh shit, it's really happening. So at the moment, rightly so, and this is why I've said constantly, I believe City will win the league. It was only when we lost to Tottenham, I said the day before, if we don't take advantage of the fact Arsenal drop points, if we take advantage of that, fine. If we don't, it's telling me we're not the same City. And we didn't. And I was like, do you know what? I can't see us winning the league. We're not the same City this season. But then what happened after that with you dropping points, us being rejuvenated, the siege mentality has made me believe again. But this is football, bro. Anyone that thinks like a league is won in January, February, whenever, it's a roller coaster ride. You don't know what injuries are going to happen. Last season, we ended up our last 4 or 5 games with Laporte and Fernandinho as our centre backs, right? We don't know what's going to happen, bro.
I'm going to get to Gunnar Sulz now. But before I do that, remember what I said to you? That same video? If we get Jesus back and we still have a points lead ahead of you, it's over. That's what I believe. I believe if we get back to full strength without any further injuries, and somehow we're lucky with injuries from now on.
Here's another thing. Do you know the maddest of injuries? Ones that you'll never call, yeah? Ones that you will never even realise how important they are, can all of a sudden become very important because you don't realise how important a player is until they're out. Like, this is a thing. Like, there's so many twists that everyone thinks they can. For me, the Jesus one was the one. Everyone was saying the minute Arsenal lose Jesus, they crumble. You came back from the World Cup and hit really good form without him. So there's so much that can twist and turn. It's not won until... I think the league will be won in game week 37.
When is that? Who do we play?
I don't know, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not... I think we play you...
Go right to the end, yeah.
We play you around about April the
20-something,
25th or something like that. But it won't be that. It will be like, and it will be a very... Remember the season we won the league where Man United on a Sunday went and dropped points against, someone like West Brom. And it was like, Vinny ended up in a pub because he was out with his family, right?
Well, what's the chance?
Pep was watching golf and we won the league.
What's the chances that the league is wrapped up by April 29th?
It won't be, bro.
Is that possible? Because we play you on the 26th. My theory is by the time we play you the next time, if we can pick up 3 points and there's only 4 games remaining, we could technically almost wrap it up at that point.
Not till game week, absolute earliest, game week 37.
Game week 37, really?
Yeah.
What's the significance to game week 27?
It's not, bro. What I'm saying is
it's just going to go right to the very end. Is what you're saying?
Stupid things happen. Like, you could look at games that you think are easy games, yeah, but
like Everton.
You have to remember there's like teams that to us coming first, second, third, fourth is a big deal. To other teams, that 2 points, that 1 point can mean so much to them. And not just to the club, but to the players, because if they get relegated, their wages, like, they're going to have to probably drop their wages and play elsewhere, or they love the club. There is so many twists and turns. This is not La Liga. Every team in this league can take points off of you. Everyone.
You want to know something? We're currently, you guys are galvanized. You guys are ready. I'm going to go to Gunnar Sulz right now. I feel like the Arsenal fan base right now is fragile. A large portion of the fan base.
So were we a week ago, though, bro.
A large portion of the fan base right now are fragile. They need to have composure. They are worried. They can't hack dropping points to anybody. Anytime we drop points, they're looking for scapegoats. They're looking for personnel to blame. They're people who are already getting on Arteta's case, ready to criticize him. And it's not little kids. This is grown men.
Yeah, I see it, bro. I see it.
Anyways, Gunnar Sulz, talk to
me.
Bro,
football's an emotional thing, you know. Very emotional thing.
I think it could be wrapped up early. Surely not. You got City fans in here, always in here telling me, Iga, relax. You're not going to win. You're not going to win. We've been here before. Have Liverpool ever looked this good against you guys, and you guys have been questionable?
Bro, at the moment, you lot don't look good, though. This is a thing. But right now, football's very reactionary. Very, very reactionary, yeah? Like, listen, Gakpo scored yesterday, and I'm seeing people saying he's turning beast mode, right? So that is how reactionary football is. Like, Haaland had a bad charity shield, Nunes had a good one, and apparently Haaland was going to be a flop and Nunes was going to be on fire. Football is reactionary, and I get... Do you know what? appreciate the City fans that have that chest, yeah, because there's a lot of us older lot that
I
can't
lied
have
about
it.
Pac-Man. I lied about Pac-Man. I was just picking on him.
Oh no, Pac-Man's bro. Pac-Man is the most underrated Twitter user in the world. He is elite, bro. He is elite. Hold tight, Pac-Man.
There you go. There you go. Let's get back. Don't forget, never a foul. You guys see it right there. Make sure you give him a follow. The link is in the description. Go ahead, Gunnar Sulz. Talk to me.
Do you know what? I'm excited. And I know it sounds psychotic to say this, right? I'm not even nervous. I'm actually really, really, really excited. And you know what it is, right? Call it a loser. I don't care. Call me whatever you want to call me. But you know what it is? I've got to, no matter what happens this season, think about it. This squad is 20. The average age of this squad is 24. Do you know the lesson they'll learn in football? You know the mental lesson they'll learn at the age of what, like 23, 24 is half of their squad? Now, look, I know people are going to get on to me to say, oh, you're lowering the standards of the team, blah, 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 blah. But my way of thinking about it is we're the youngest squad in the league, and we go toe-to-toe with this Man City side who just signed Erling Haaland, who have got the expectation of, going and winning a treble. Look, whether it happens or doesn't happen, that's another story. But the expectations of this Man City team...
trebles in there and all sorts. Jesus Christ.
No, what I'm saying is that you guys have got this expectation of, like, winning.
Oh, I thought you meant you lot doing a treble.
No, you guys. Like, with signing Haaland, sorry. I meant, like, signing Haaland and, needing to take that step up to win a chat. Look, I know you guys as a fan aren't, but I'm talking general football fans saying they've got to make that step now. And for a team that finished 5th, bottle top 4, all of this, to go toe-to-toe with arguably one of the best teams in the last sort of 5 to 6 years is a credit to the team. These guys, this is their first, like, other than Zinchenko and Jesus, there's not been any player in our team that's gone toe-to-toe to the very end with a Man City type team in other leagues as well, let's talk, and gone and, like, done anything. So we've got to look at it in that angle. And look, that's me sort of being optimistic and, being a fan. But the reality is, I'm excited to see what this Arsenal team can do.
Sulz, I don't think just the players. I think you have to throw Arteta in there as well. That this is his first rodeo like this. And people say he's been there for a couple of seasons, but this is his first title race. And people are already trying to discredit him. It's mad. It's like
crazy.
It's quite mad because I see an Arsenal fan saying, "Oh, if he bottles it, he needs to go." And I'm like, I think you guys underestimate, like, Man City. Like, they're no mugs. That's what it is, right? They're so contradictory in the way they talk about things, because I'm like, so what is it? Are Man City mugs then, or are they like actual certified challengers of this league? And it's like, for me, you've been one of the best teams in the last 5 years, or arguably a bit longer than that.
In the league, so we won 4 or 5. We've been the best by a country mile. Exactly.
So for me, it's like, look, when you've got if you look at it, Man City rejects, you've got a Man City, like, assistant manager reject, you've got this, and it's like everyone's a reject in our team.
This is all bullshit. Now
I know that.
Other fans
of course, I know. But when we talk in narrative terms, because it's the same people saying, wanting Arteta out and Arsenal's this and Arsenal's that. So I'm talking to those narrative writers. They've come up with all these narratives, all these tests, all these hurdles. And for me, it's like, if we go on to tomorrow and go toe-to-toe and compete with you, and let's say it's a draw, let's just say, yes, it's not the result we wanted, but we fought tooth and nail, and it ends up being a draw. To me, that is one of the biggest steps in the right direction that this team can take. Because from going from being absolutely bullied by the top 6 to being the team to beat by the top 6, beat United, we've beaten Spurs, we've beaten Chelsea, then we go get a draw against City, and we've beaten Liverpool. Like, who haven't we beaten? When we look at the team, like, even the lower level teams, like below the mid-table, like 10 to 20, majority of that we've been getting as well. 2 losses in the season, 2 draws. That's champion level.
Well, you're still on. If you can still achieve 101 points.
And it's like, the thing is, I think one of the reasons why Arsenal...
No, I know, but you still can, bro. Not many people achieve that. So the fact you still can, I'm not saying you will, but at this point,
we're on track.
Very few teams have hit 50 points by halfway through the season. So the other thing that I think I've seen 1 or 2 people say about Arsenal, but then some of them will try to line it to Arteta somehow, is about in the January transfer window. And this is another point where I think maybe a little bit naive, right? But I think you were intending on spending, right? The problem is, unfortunately, naive is that maybe you thought you could get Caicedo for a certain price. The fact that you spent a lot, the fact that you'd taken Trossard, the fact that they'd recently lost Potter, the fact they'd recently lost their recruitment team, the fact they recently lost Cucurella, you should have realised they're not going to let him go for minimal. Like, they're going to push it and push it. But then the other two, like if you look at João Felix and Mudryk, again, it's naive because unfortunately you've come up against a Chelsea that like are ruthless. Like, I don't know. None of us know how ruthless they have been in the transfer window, behind the scenes. But I would imagine they've been extremely ruthless. Now, you'll learn from that. Next transfer window, you'll have backup plans, But this is the first time that you're looking to buy players to come straight in, hit the ground running, and challenge for the league. So
let me just stop you there. Ian Wright did say there are people just waiting for Arsenal to get back into Champions League football to jump on the ship. There's people ready to jump on ship.
What do you mean by jump ship? Switch teams?
No, jump on the bandwagon.
But the bandwagon of look at us, we're good.
Jump on the bandwagon, get on the ride, and come with us to the next level. There's people ready to do that, and Arsenal's ready to spend that money.
Yeah.
For example,
100. Bro, you've always been that team. Come on, there's no denying that you are.
Declan Rice, he just wants to move within the Premier League, and he predominantly wants to stay in London. He doesn't want to go to Manchester United. He wants to stay in England.
But do you know what the other thing is though? Like, we've got to understand it's a January window. Like, I understand like going from like a Mudryk and Caicedo to Trossard and Jorginho is a very obviously a drop off in terms of the name and the excitement those players bring. But you've got to understand for a plan B in a January window where you've got 30 days to get your signings done, that's the best pivots. Yeah. You know, you've got Trossard, who's 27, who's proven it in the Premier League against the top six, which is what we need. Historically, we've struggled against the top six and trying to get those results because we've not had that man. Do you know what I mean? Like the game changer.
Now, he was a good signing. I would have had him.
Let me just stop everything for a second. I just want to pivot into this segment here, and then we can bring it back to this right now. This is the predicted lineups for both teams, and I don't think you're going to be happy with Akanji and Laporte.
Now, who predicted that?
Okay, so this is the predicted lineup based off of FootMob. They predicted the lineup based off of the teams that you've played over the last couple of weeks.
I can tell you now on behalf of every single City fan, the fact that Diaz came off at half time, right? I don't know why they're putting Akanji in there. I don't. Maybe do you know what? They'd probably play Pep Roulette. Nah, Akanji won't start. Diaz will start.
So it would be Diaz, Laporte, Ake, and Kyle Walker in the back?
I hope Scott it is, yeah.
Okay, so no Rico.
No. Bro, I've been saying this. Rico is an 18-year-old, that's done a really fucking good job and looks really hot. If we want to win, I've said it. If we want to win the league, we need our best 11 playing at their best, Not our informed team, not our best 11 playing at their worst. We need our best 11. And Rico Lewis is a great star. We need Walker, man. Walker, for me, is one of Pep's best signings at City.
You know what? It's similar to Kieran. Like, you know, when Bukayo Saka first came onto the scene when we won the FA Cup under Arteta, Bukayo Saka actually didn't play the final or didn't start the final. And it was actually Kieran Tierney who played in that position. And sometimes, you know what, when it comes to these like clutch times, it's not about depending on your youth. It's about depending on the experienced players to help get your youth ready for this. So like Rico Lewis is going to be looking at Kyle Walker and learning what he's doing on the pitch mentally to get over the line. And that's what you've got to be doing.
Well, he's 18, he's a City fan. He gets it, Like, he don't need to be starting these games. For me, that was one of the most criminal things against Tottenham was when Walker's fit and Rico Lewis is starting. It's like you're putting to... I've said it about Liverpool. Like, Jude Bellingham going Liverpool right now, I think that would be criminal because the whole fan base is going, he's going to be our saviour. Bro, he's young. Like, that's not what a young player needs to have all that pressure on their shoulders.
Let me just talk through some of these other things. Injuries.
I want to see your lineup, though.
You only have Stones fit. I mean injured.
Yeah, we're back at last. We've got most.
Just to let you know, Reece Nelson's back. Emil Smith Rowe is back in training. Jesus is back in training, but he's not fully ready to play, so he's still injured. And then he's the only one officially injured.
Nah,
so the whole squad,
none of them matter. None of them will start for you anyway, apart from Jesus.
Yeah. The form doesn't really matter sometimes, but the fact that we haven't actually been playing well in the last 3 games is going to be a little bit of a conversation starter for some people. Our record against City as of late has been horrendous. You guys just win almost every game and score a ridiculous amount of goals against us. If you look at the last, 8-10 games that we've scored,
more than that, bro. I think in the last 14, I think you've got 1 draw, and I think you won an FA Cup game, and that was it.
Yeah.
That's
I'm not gonna lie, Dabs. I'm ready to do score predictions. If you're ready to do score predictions,
well, can I just say, one thing that surprised me a little bit with you, man, over the last couple of weeks that I think you're missing a trick on, while Jesus has been out. Right, and I've said this on the last 2 shows. When you lot signed, and Igal, I came on your show and waxed lyrical about this man, how much we fucking miss him, right? Yeah. And you lot now love him, Zinchenko, yeah? But when you signed him, everyone told me that Tierney was your number 1. When fit, Tierney is your number 1 left back, yeah? And my whole thing was, I get that. The beauty with Zinchenko is, firstly, he's used to being a bench player. He has no issues. He understands to win trophies, it's about a team, not best 11. And he's cool with that. Most seasons, he started on the bench, worked his way in. But the other thing is, he's captain playing central midfield for Ukraine, right? One of the best things about Zinchenko at City, for me, was, and through our best eras, alongside David Silva and Raheem Sterling, Zinchenko as a left-back knows how to do the triangle thing. Right? All the way up the pitch, making triangles constantly, yeah? Working that whole left channel from bottom to top, whether it be as a left back or as a central midfielder. So when Tierney is fit, it has surprised me a little bit that Arteta hasn't gone and playing alongside Partey. Because if you are a central midfielder that can also play as a left back, right? You know how to defend and attack, right? It just surprises me a little bit because I think he suits Arteta's system more than Jorginho does doing that role for me. And
Zinchenko suits the Partey position.
Right. No, not the part next to him, bro.
Next to Xhaka, like the Xhaka type.
Yeah. So with Martinelli missing Jesus at the moment, yeah?
Perfect solution.
Tierney, Zinchenko, Martinelli works. I'll tell you, bro. If you look at City, it works.
I don't think Arteta's going to do any dramatic.
He won't, but I don't get why. Because he saw at City, Zinchenko, David Silva, Sane or Sterling down the left worked, right?
Do you know where I agree with that is against like teams like Everton and Brentford where you've got to break a low block. That's when you move Zinchenko and just have him as that midfield number rather than another midfield number. And then you've got.
I haven't seen him rotate too much. Mikel Arteta seems
to. That's my criticism. He doesn't need to do it sometimes.
Very much so need to rotate because if we're going to win a lot of these games down the stretch, we're gonna need to use some more of our squad, and we're not using enough of our squad at this moment in time. It's very worrisome.
Agreed.
Let's get into the actual score predictions and how we think the game is gonna go. I'm going to go to Gunnar Sulz first, and then we'll go to Dabs, then I'll wrap it up. Because I feel like you guys have heard my take on this numerous times. So let's start with Gunnar Sulz. Gunnar Sulz, how do you think the game's going to go from both perspectives?
Do you know what? I think we're going to start to see a little bit of the pre-Man City Arsenal in terms of how we've been the majority of the season. And that's purely down to just the way that Man City play and the way that we opted to play this season. And I think it's going to be one of the most even if it's a 0-0, it'll still be entertaining. I think you're going to see some of the best football on display this season in this game. Tactical battles. It's going to be a chess match. It's going to be mentally. By the way, neutrals are going to enjoy it, but as a fan, it's going to be such a draining game that you don't want to do a match reaction. You just want to go to bed, even if you win. Even if you've won, you just want to go to bed because you're going to be like as if you played the 90 minutes because it's going to be back and forth. There's going to be moments. There's going to be the excitement. There's going to be for fuck's sakes, what did you do there? And there's going to be all of that in one game because number one, it's an important game for both teams because this is Man City's time to get back into the title race, like actually back into it and kickstart something. But it's also Arsenal's time to kind of show to the Premier League, fuck you for doubting us, and this is the Arsenal era. Do you know what I mean? So for me, that's why you're going to get all the emotions. You're going to get Arteta doing his dramatics. You're going to get Pep joining in, doing his dramatics. Obviously, friends after the game, but on that game, you're going to see this sort of battle of two men.
We always knew sooner or later that relationship is going to, on the touchline, we know afterwards they're cool, they're friends, but sooner or later it will, because they're too passionate. They're too Latin passionate brothers. Like, it will happen.
I think it's going to be 2-1. Yeah.
Do you know what?
Yeah, I say
what Sulz just said there, yeah, it's funny because sometimes Terry has had me on for match reactions, right, after big games when City have won, and I've come on and I'm just like smiling and like, yeah, you know, it's business as usual, and he's like, you don't seem happy, and I'm like, I'm drained, bro. Like, especially like I've done 3 shows tonight. I did 2 or 3 shows yesterday, driving to London, doing them. And if you are a passionate fan, like I was trying to say this last week when 1 or 2 people were talking about how City should be treated, about all the controversy. And some of the stuff I was seeing, I was like, do you know what? I just don't think you're that much of a fan of your own club. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, because if you wish that on any football fan, you don't really love your club. Because I can tell you now, like, if Man City wasn't in my life, it would hurt. It would hurt me, bro. So
100%.
These games. Now, I hope you're right about the quality of the game, because the one thing we always saw with City and Liverpool over the last couple of years is it was just levels. Like, the levels of the game was different, yeah. And with how good Arsenal have been this season, I hope that City can go back to how good we can be, which we kind of saw glimpses of against Villa, so that it is that spectacle. Because, do you know what? I think Arsenal deserve that. When people started talking about points last week and kind of making it about, I don't want, for Arsenal fans, if Arsenal were to win the league, Arsenal deserve to win the league without it ever having, oh, well, that's because of, yeah? Like, because you've been good. You've got to halfway, 50 points, proved everyone wrong. And I want it to be that game where, like, it pissed me off where I think it was you and United recently and everyone's going, oh, this game was different level. I'm like, for me, we are better than Man United, hands down, right? This season, we maybe haven't shown it, but as a proud City fan, I don't ever want there to be a season where the best games of the season is anyone but us club, my club and someone. And right now, I've said it before, if I could have any manager, if Pep went, Vinny will give you a few more years. For now, it would be Arteta, because I think he plays similar football to us. So I'm going to say, though, because it has to be, and we have to get it done, 2-1 City. But it's going to be a hard game, very hard game. But if we win this one, I back us to go and win the league. So 2-1 City.
Yeah, I think if we win this one and we make a 6-point gap, some in the back of your mind, you might shift your focus fully to the Champions League and kind of just say, you know what?
It's hard, but if our form's like that, how can we act like we can do that in the Champions League? That's my view. Is that the Premier League is the bread and butter. If you can't do the bread and butter, how dare you think you can do the Champions League?
You need sustained mental capacity, where in the Champions League you need a little bit of luck and a lot of preparation.
You just need Erling Haaland, let's be honest.
Hey, I'm going to say this. I think it's going to be a tight game. It's going to be end to end. It's going to be open. You're going to see both teams. You're going to see both teams pressing, playing out each other's press. You're going to see a little bit of each other's tactics on both ends, and a little bit of familiarity with the players that know each other from England and from obviously Zinchenko playing at Man City already, and Mikel Arteta being the former assistant manager there. You're going to see a lot of passion from both sidelines. You're going to see a lot of hand signals from both. They're doing the orchestra. I really do believe the teacher today, I'm not saying he's going to get schooled, but the student's going to get one up on him on the day. And it's not because that he's tactically better than him. It's not because of anything like that. It's strictly because we're going to have the home fans there to help us guide us through this situation. Last year, we weren't half the team we were this year. And you guys needed a red card and a penalty to win the game. I really do believe. I really do believe
see those comments there, bro. You can't say that because you don't know that.
That is the reality of what took place, though. Before the red card and before the penalty, it was a 1-0 Arsenal.
I hear you, bro. But what I would say is, and this is what I would say to that is, right? This has always been my view: is never ever rely on decisions. Yeah, if you are champions against any fucking odds, yeah, you can get it done. Listen, when Pep was manager of Bayern Munich, I remember City playing Bayern getting a player sent off, and me wondering how it looked like they had 12 men and we had 10 when they'd had the players sent off, because they just at that point, that Pep, that like it's for me. Don't ever. The one thing we all know is referees are fucked. Decisions are fucked. Don't make excuses, bro. Like, and the one thing to Arsenal fans, because I've seen it this week, we talk about the VAR decision. You know what? I get it. Over the last however many years, that's been your fallback. You're better than that now, right? You are better. I'm telling you, you are better than that. Yeah, you don't need them. If you're going to be champions, you will face bad decisions, but you go and get it done by any fucking means.
Okay. And my final point. Arsenal are going to get themselves back to their scintillating best based on the fact that we are going to be facing a City team that's going to allow us to play the way that we play. They're not going to frustrate us the same way that a team would with the low block. We're going to get areas, and also you're not going to just play through the wings. You're going to try to build through the midfield also. So we're going to have opportunities to win the ball back high up the pitch and catch you out. So based on those scenarios and the fact that we haven't really been able to get in those scenarios over the last couple of weeks, I'm hoping that we can get back to our best. Hopefully we make a substitution prior to a rotation prior to the game. But even if we don't, Trossard coming off the bench is a big, massive game changer for us.
Also, start Martinelli. If you don't make those changes, you start Martinelli over Trossard.
You start Martinelli and Eddie Nketiah if you don't change it. If you change it, you take one of them out and you put in Trossard.
I must admit that front three. Yeah, I get it against us.
Yeah,
three players that can run at us against Diaz and Laporte. I get that fully.
People are saying, Iga, confidence is class. Could go out in rain in one cocktail umbrella. What? He tells everyone
that's probably
guaranteed to stay dry. I'm so confused. What the hell does that even mean, Pac-Man?
If you want to stay dry, don't go Manchester.
Listen, my whole point is Arsenal's going to win this game. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not as confident as I was a couple of weeks ago because of a little dip in form. But reality is, I haven't been here in a while. I haven't been here in a while. Haven't experienced it in a while, and kind of feels foreign to me. Because even when we last won, I wasn't really like in it too much to remember how the ebbs and flows of the whole season was. And right now, there's times where I feel it and I'm like, yo, it's worrisome.
Bro, do you know what? The one thing, Igal, you did shows with me last year, and you know I was very much like, I always said it, I look after my mental health by kind of downplaying our chances of winning the league. This is the first season I've come into it confident we were going to win the league. And look where we are, right? So, bro, there is no harm in being cautious. Like, look after your mental health, and don't get carried away, because when you get carried away, you get let down.
Do you remember what you did after you lost to Brentford? You came on the stream and you said, "Who's gonna win the league?" Then shut up. on Vibes in the 6. You remember? You came on.
When was that? This season?
This season.
Yeah, this season. I've been a different beast this season, and look where we are. We're fucking second. We're not top. So it's kind of taught me a lesson that, like, I had someone on Matisse's channel recently say, "Daps, you used to be so humble. What happened?" And I was like, I had everyone tell me you need to have more chest. So I have more chest, and everyone's like, I liked you humble. I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Listen, no matter what, there's gonna be people who say they like the other
of
side.
course, I'll get that.
There's gonna, for the content, people are gonna say, "Oh, Dabs, just keep doing what you're doing." It is what it is. But right now, I'm gonna bid you guys adieu. So I'm going 2-1. You're going 2-1. You're going 2-1. We're all going 2-1. But you're going for City. We're going for Arsenal. And yeah, that's it, people. It is what it is. We're gonna see the first showdown of the season, the game of the season so far, hopefully. And hopefully it's a good game. Hopefully we both enjoy it. And hopefully we come out of it breathing heavy and living life. You know what I mean? Have a good one, guys. I'm out of here. Dabs, thank you for jumping on.
Love to both of you.
Never a Foul. Make sure you guys do hit that subscribe button to Never a Foul. Of course, road to what? 10K?
We've just hit 7, so road to 10. Fuck it, why not?
There you go. And we're almost at 20K, guys. So make sure we get there. And yeah, big up Gunner Sulz every single time for jumping on. Hopefully we see you tomorrow after the game. And you guys know, we're out of here.